Good morning. It's 11 o'clock here in the state of Nevada. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I thought I would just tell you what time it is here. Today I want to talk about several things. Sometimes I have to come on here and comment from the point of view of a wisdom keeper, or let's say a medicine man or shaman, not from the typical point of view. I'm looking at what's going on right now, and I just had to comment about this whole election process, the political process. What a pathetic mess. What a pathetic mess. You got two old men, nothing against old men, but these two old men are senile, both of them, or delusional, either one will do. You got this big political campaign coming up in November with Biden on one side and Trump on the other. And these are the supposed leaders of this country, or wannabe leaders. I just have to shake my head how pathetic it is, how demented it is. You got two demented old men playing a game. And it's like, they couldn't even play chess, all right? So let's gear this down to checkers, okay? Because they're barely able to play that, I think, on the chessboard of geopolitics and leadership, and things like that. Both of them couldn't find their ass with both hands. They're not what we would call true leaders, okay? And when I think of true leaders, I think of leaders like in the tribes, in the Native American tribes, that had to live up to certain characteristics like courage and honor and wisdom, knowledge, what's good for the people. None of that exists in these two. Or, for that matter, if you look around the world, aren't most leaders getting on in age? Now, in the Native American tradition, when you got on in age, your mind was usually sharp as a tack, and you told stories and oral traditions and passed them on to your grandchildren and children, or the community at large, and you were a true leader and had true knowledge and was grounded in the energy of Mother Earth, okay? So these people that call themselves leaders don't even qualify. They don't even come close. They're so far away that it's almost not worth talking about. But as far as the state of affairs, two old men playing checkers, and each time a checker is taken off the board, 50,000 people or 100,000 people die. I was watching the news today about the conflict in Gaza and the conflict in Ukraine and the wars around the world and geopolitics in general. And this one commentator was saying something like, well, he can't do this, Biden can't do this to, let's say, Netanyahu, or he can't make this decision at this time, because if he made a decision to stop the killing, it would affect his standing in the elections. And I just went, wow. Really? We're talking about you could save hundreds of thousands or 20,000 or 30,000 people's lives with a phone call or with a change of heart or something like that, but you don't want to do it because you're afraid. Bet your polling numbers will go down in the election process. Let me put something out front here right now. It's a game. It's a game, okay? Politics is a religion. It's a game. It's a sham. It's a distraction. It has no meaning whatsoever. You're going to tell me that if you get one of these two morons in the White House, there's another term I don't like, the White House. If you get one of these two morons in the White House, that things are all of a sudden going to be a panacea and all ills and problems and I don't know, the financial situation and the world situation, it's all of a sudden going to get better. We have a demented nation is what we have here. We have, you know, if you look at the leadership and they're demented, okay, well then you got to figure out, well, who got them in there or who allowed them to be in there or who turns a blind eye. You have to be a demented nation, okay, as a whole, to allow two people or even one of these people as a leader of your nation. And when you look at the situation now with the Biden and Trump debate and the ridiculousness of it, I mean, one guy looked like the Grinch that stole Christmas, that would be Trump, and the other guy looked like a deer in the headlights. It's really pathetic, and why people can't see this right out front, maybe more people are starting to see it, but why they just, you know, you got to scratch your head and go, is the populace of America, this country, America, are they that friggin' stupid that they would even allow this without taking some kind of action as a whole, as a unified people against it? This would not go down well in any kind of indigenous community of past ancient years, 1800s or 1700s or whatever. People don't know how to be earth people. They don't know how to be earth warriors. They don't know how to take control of the situation with courage, okay? Courage and lucid thinking, okay, and wisdom and discernment. They don't know what these qualities are or traits in themselves, so how are they going to know what it is in what they call their leaders? You got two old men, senile, not wisdom keepers, not medicine men, all right? Not enlightened at all. If you don't know yourself, how are you going to know anybody else? If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else? Both of these guys are criminals. They're criminals by their own rules, all right? By what they establish as their laws and their rules. They're both criminals. I mean, one is no better than the other. Biden, the Biden family and the Hunter Biden and all that whole thing with their complications in Ukraine and money laundering and drug use and just a whole litany of things. Criminal, outright criminal. And then you got Trump on the other hand, criminal, okay? I understand that one side can use the justice system against the other, but in order to do that, you have to have something to base it on. Is Trump squeaky clean? Hell no. Hell no. He's a disaster, just like Biden. They're both disasters. They don't qualify on any level to be any kind of leader. And I always compare this to tribal leaders of old, people like Sitting Bull and, Chief Joseph and Tosunke Wheatgo, Crazy Horse, people that had real courage, real morals, real caring for their people, real leadership, real wisdom. And you look at these guys and it's like Mutt and Jeff. It's like a cartoon. It's like, really? Really? And like I said before, anybody that would allow this, you know, the populace as a whole, anybody that would allow this to get this out of hand and, you know, say that these guys are my leaders. And then you look at some of these political rallies, all right? And you got a whole group of people sitting on bleachers behind each of these old men that are running for office. And they're waving flags and they're cheering, and Biden's fallen off the stage. He can't find his way. You know, like I said, he couldn't find his ass with both hands. Wandering around like a deer in the headlights, and all these people are cheering and waving flags, and I'm like, what is wrong with this picture? What is wrong with that picture? If that isn't a complete display of insanity, okay, if that isn't a complete display of mass zombieism, okay, you got two zombies and you got a bunch of zombies behind them. It's really that simple. Nobody thinks, nobody cares, nobody has wisdom, nobody looks into anything beyond their nose, their everyday life, the rut that they're in, the slavery that they're in, imposed by guess who? These same two people and whoever orchestrates these people. Now some people might say, well, these people aren't really running the country. Their strings are big. Well, that's true. That's true. The strings are being pulled. These people are puppets. They are a facade, okay? But having said that, it doesn't matter if they're the facade. Let's say they are the facade and they're being controlled by the deep state or whatever. Still, people have to look at it and go, is this the best that the deep state can present to us? You know, I'm starting to think both of these guys are probably victims of taking the medical procedure that was imposed upon the nation. They were right out there in front with doctors injecting them on stage and all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, you know, not only are they demented and senile, but their brains are also screwed up, as well as their physical being. Everything is probably screwed up after that. And nobody wants to talk about that elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about the medical problem stemming from you know what. So again, you know, basically what we have is, in the name of politics, and this is around the world. This is around the world. I mean, I can't think of maybe but two leaders that have any common sense in the world right now. One of them might be Viktor Orban in Hungary, and of course Putin is he's so sharp that it makes these guys look like you know, Dumb and Dumber over here. So, you know, to add to all this stuff, you got to look at the world situation and the way it was orchestrated into a worldwide conflict that is manifesting itself on several levels. The Gazan level, the Middle East, the European level, the Eurasian level, Russia and Ukraine, all the wars, all this, all that. You got all these things that are on the brink of blowing up. And any rational person would go, okay, we got all these things on the brink of blowing up, and we got these two guys that are sitting in there, two buffoons, and a bunch more over in Europe, like Macron and Schultz and van der Leyen and all these different people that just totally have their heads up their ass. Okay. That's how they find their ass, not with their hands, by sticking their head up there. That's how they find it. All right. And you look at the complexion of the world with the various leaders of, let's say, the tribes, you know, the different tribes. And you maybe have two people that have their shit together, okay? In the world. That's, wow. You know, as far as leadership on the stage, you know, people out there playing the game of chess, the geopolitical game of chess. You got two people that maybe have some kind of morality and some kind of love and compassion for their fellow man, all right? So, here we go. You know, politics is just another form of religion. It's just a belief system. It's just a belief system, okay? And where do these belief systems come from? They come from society who didn't know what it was doing in the first place before anybody forms a belief system or gets a belief system imposed upon them. It's all structured from their birth, society teaching them about what they should do or what they should not do or what they should believe or not believe. And this very same society didn't know what it was doing in the first place, because the sins of the fathers are visited upon the sons. Generational imperfection, generational wrong thinking, generational immorality, or no morality, or no conscience, and adherence to laws that don't make sense. Not just laws, just laws that are propagated to bring in money, okay? Now, if it wasn't bad enough that we got two leaders that are totally off their rockers, totally demented, totally vicious criminals, all right? If that wasn't bad enough, you got a whole group of people that supposedly comprises the government, Congress, okay? And then you got senators and governors and all these people scattered around the different states. And every one of these people is in there for no other reason than to get to the top and get the green frog skins, okay? That's what Lame Deer called money. He called it the green frog skins. They want to rise to the top. They want to put a lot of money in their bank account. And they see that politics in that general road, just like being a lawyer or a doctor or any other dishonest, illicit, immoral profession like that, a trickery type profession, a trickster type profession, they see the road to riches, okay, and they see the road to taking bribes, okay, and then you have lobbyists, all right, that like AIPAC, the Jewish lobby, and there's all kinds of lobbyists, okay, for all kinds, you know, for different corporations, the military-industrial complex, pharmaceuticals, gas and oil, Every one of these lobbyists are nothing more than criminals. Okay, it's a whole criminal system. They bribe people to vote for bills and legislation and war and whatever is going to line their pocketbooks full of gold and green frog skins and, paid for whores and vacations in the Caribbean. And meanwhile, you got masses of people. You got masses of people suffering in their countries, in their tribe. Let's put this in the, I want this to be put in the context of the indigenous people that were once here that had true leaders called chiefs that took care of the people, all right? And the people trusted them because they grew up around him and they know that, hey, this person has a good character. They knew him from birth. They knew him from the cradle, all right? They saw him grow up. They saw him go through manhood. They saw him go through the tests of manhood and warriorship and building character. And nobody got to be a tribal leader, all right? Nobody got to be a tribal leader unless they had a good character. And they were watched closely, and as soon as they fell out of character, they were gone, all right? Now, women, the matriarchal society had a lot to do with this because indigenous people were basically a matriarchal society, although let me clarify something here because somebody asked me about the role of men and women. There were no women chiefs that I could think of. They were men. There was a hierarchy, okay? Just like there should be in the family circle, there should be a hierarchy, okay? There should be a chief because you can't have two chiefs or you'll have a division. That just makes common sense. One person's the chief. But having said that, the chief, like the chief of a tribe, always had counsel and always listened to everybody in the tribe, and especially the women. What did the women do? When you speak of a matriarchal society, what did the women do in the tribe? Well, they took care basically of everything, okay? They put up the teepees, they did the cooking, they set up the camp, they turned skins, animal skins into clothes, they sewed, they gathered wood, cooked, cleaned, took care of the children. They did everything except being a warrior, and some were actually warriors too, but the warriorship was left to the men. And the hunting of game and hunter and warrior was they were the breadwinner, so to speak, in that sense. They went out and hunted game, and they went out and kept the family safe from other warring factions, okay? The women were always at home, except for, like, there were exclusions to that rule, like certain Apache women were a hell of a warrior, like Lozin and Goyan and people like that. But still, the chief was a man, just like in the household, okay? That's another thing that has been split apart in tradition, the traditional hierarchy on a metaphysical level. That's how it plays out on a metaphysical level as far as male and female energies go. There has to be a hierarchy, and I told one of the people in the prayer circle this recently. Oh, incidentally, yes, I do have a prayer circle. Let me show you that real quick here. The Red Road Prayer Circle, facilitated by yours truly in the tradition of the Native American concept. Just thought I'd mention that. If you want to join up, you can always email me. My email is at spiritofcrazyhorse.com in the show notes, as well as a donation button. While I'm talking about that, let's talk about liking this video. You don't have to subscribe. I'm at the point now where I do these things mostly for people in the prayer circle. Other people can watch it and learn from it. But getting back to the tribal thing and the leadership and all that stuff. There were no women in, like, say, a political structure. Okay, there were no women like you have today, like Hyena Kamala and Pelosi the clown, and there were none in there. It was nil, nothing like that. It was all men leadership, which is a good thing. Now, when you have a man as a leader, they always take counsel with the women. Let's say in a household you're the head of the house, or the head of that particular family unit. Just because you're the head, that doesn't mean that you're some kind of tyrant, or that you lord it over people, or you don't consider other people's feelings. I know I'm going to get flack from this from certain women's libbers. Well, that's just tough shit. You've been corrupted. What has to go down to keep family unity is there has to be a chief. You can't have two chiefs, because it's going to be a divisive effect. So what the man does, or what the leader does in a situation or a tribe or anything, is you sit down and you consider all viewpoints. You consider all viewpoints, all right? Everybody offers their viewpoints. And if you're a good chief, and if you're a moral chief, and if you're an understanding chief, you consider all these viewpoints, weigh them out in your mind, because you wouldn't be in the position of a chief in the first place unless you were a wisdom keeper and enlightened on certain levels. Once the council is held, in other words, once you form a council and everybody sits around in a circle in a campfire or whatever, and you consider all the suggestions, and I mean you really consider them, your ego is not part of the situation here. You evaluate. Actually, it's more like getting good ideas from the community, or from your wife, or whatever unit it is. Then, who makes the final decision? You do. You do. And if that final decision brings blowback, you're responsible. It's called taking responsibility. This is what has divided up the world, okay? This is what has divided up the family unit. This is what has divided up tribes in the past by the white man incursion, imposing certain things and disintegrating the core values of the indigenous people by infiltration and corruption, even on the reservations, like the tribal councils that were taken over by the feds after a while. Chiefs went out the window, so to speak. Medicine men hung around like fool's crow and had their input, but the tribal council took over, and the tribal council was comprised of all kinds of people taking bribes from the feds. Don't think that the Native American hasn't been corrupted and is still corrupted today off of their original intent or their original plan or their original blueprint. I know I transitioned off into the tribal thing here, but it has a direct effect. What I'm saying here is if leadership is done in a correct way, in the old way, in the ancient way, in the indigenous way, and that's the way I think, okay, and that's my point of reference. If it is done in that way, it will work, okay, because the good of the people was always put first in the tribe. It wasn't the good of the chief, it wasn't about him, it was about the good of the people. Were they put in harm's way? Did they have enough food? If they had to relocate, was it done in an orderly fashion? It was all about the tribe. And there was always compassion involved, and always love, and always consideration, okay, to what kind of effect that would have, like, let's say, on the elderly in the tribe, or let's say the children in the tribe. That type of thing. Compare that with, let's get back to the present thing that I'm talking about here, the present situation of these two knucklehead, demented old fools in suits and ties sacrificing hundreds of thousands of lives around the world in geopolitics and putting themselves trying to put themselves in a position of power, okay, for what, I don't know, power over what, a world that has gone insane. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, warfare has gotten to the point of, at the push of a button, man could be annihilated in a matter of seconds. If you want to, put things into perspective, I just recently watched a movie called Oppenheimer, okay, the guy that invented the atomic bomb. That is a very good movie, and at the end, if the hairs on the back of your neck don't stand up, there's something wrong with you, okay? Because we've gotten to the point now where at the push of a button by one of these demented fools, or an order by one of them, or let's say even a wrong move, okay? Now, can a demented fool make a wrong move? Scary, isn't it? You got people with dementia and people with, let's say you don't even have dementia. I mean, it doesn't even take that. It just takes not having wisdom, not having leadership, not having character, not being a criminal, not... This is kind of a no-brainer, people. I mean, can you see what I'm talking about here? You got one of these people that, at the end of Oppenheimer, you see, after he created the atomic bomb, he had a very moral attack of, let's say, crisis of conscience, okay, and realized what the hell he had done. As soon as they dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and people were burnt to a crisp, within miles and miles around, things just leveled. He realized that he was responsible for the death by creating the atomic bomb and taking part in that at Los Alamos. Incidentally, this happened in the New Mexico area, which some people think is the land of enchantment and a paradise on earth. Well, it is in ways. The landscape there is beautiful. But what else was originated there, and what else resided there, and what else was birthed out of that area? Los Alamos. That's where the atomic bomb was invented. And then you got all kinds of secret bases around there. But I digress. So, I hope that, through this discussion, I've put things into perspective here. We are on the brink, on the very verge, the doomsday clock has been moved up to like 1 second or a half a second before doomsday. Total annihilation of the planet, total annihilation of everything on this earth. 2 demented fools are vying for the possession of being able to push the red button, the doomsday button. You're sitting in your house and all of a sudden you hear this horrible sound of rockets rushing overhead, and you look up and you see all these rockets streaking, and all of a sudden you feel the ground shake and you go, oh shit. This is it. This is the end of my life and everybody's life on the planet. And Wakan Tonka, Great Spirit, Tunkashila, grandfather and grandmother, Earth, Unsi Maka, in the Lakota tradition, and the white buffalo calf woman, all of them, made us caretakers of the planet. They made mankind caretakers of the planet. Okay? Do you shit in your own house? Do you? And that's what mankind has done. Total disrespect for, total, not oneness with, not caring about their own friggin' home. So on one level, if Great Spirit decides that these people can't take care of this house with common sense and compassion and love and, some kind of spirituality, what would Great Spirit think? Are these people worth it? Are these people worth it? They can't take care of their own house? I withdraw my presence. I withdraw my protection. Because the planet is more important, and the planet will go on, and the planet will survive, and the planet could go through billions of years and produce a whole new species that maybe has their shit together. And this has been foretold in Hopi prophecy. This is talking about, when we're talking about creation of worlds and the demise of civilizations and the demise of one world and being reborn into the next world occurring, and seeing what happens with that, and seeing if the people of that world take the true stewardship of the planet. That's why the different worlds fell in the Hopi mythology and in the Hopi tradition, which isn't mythology, it's true. The 4th world into the 5th world, or the 3rd world into the 4th world, always was accompanied by the same earmarks and the same characteristics and the same signs that we have today. And the warning was always given, and the prophecy was always given about don't do this, don't get involved in materialism, don't walk the black road, walk the red road, walk the high road to life. Just like my prayer circle, again, let me show you this, just for a second here. Walking the red road to life. All right? So anyway, I guess I'll leave it there today. I don't want this video to be too long. If you want to join this prayer circle, which is basically the only hope you have as far as operating from a spiritual level in the tradition of the Chinupa and Great Spirit, Wakantanka Tukashila, the spirit of the four directions. If you want to join the prayer circle to put out positive vibrations for your friends and family and mankind in general, and praying each, it works because it's already working with the prayer circle. I just want people to know that are in the prayer circle that I give this, put this video out to, that it is working, so hang in there. Let's increase the prayer circle by people that want to apply can go to spiritofcrazyhorse.com in the show notes below. Send me an email and, it's in the right sidebar. Donations are appreciated. Some people have come on some of my videos and asked me, well, I want to be in the prayer circle, and I never hear from them again. I tell them what to do. Okay, I tell them to send me an email. I'm not letting anybody in the prayer circle that isn't worthy of being in there, that doesn't have the right heart. Chante Ishte, the one eye of the heart, okay? And if I'm forming a tribe or a prayer circle, you're not going to be in that prayer circle unless you come on there, send me an email. It's not a third degree or anything. It's just like I want to know who you are. And I can tell right away what your intentions are. All you got to do is write me a short sentence or paragraph or whatever and tell me who you are, why you want to be in it, and what your background is, and just like a friend would, okay? And then I determine off the vibration I get, or the feeling I get from that, yeah, okay, you can be in the prayer circle. And you can pray at a certain time, which is designated within the prayer circle, and you can communicate with people in the prayer circle by name, by first name, and knowing who they are, and even what they do for a living, or what their age is, but I am going to protect this prayer circle, and in order to get into it, you have to jump through a little hoop. Okay, and that hoop is sending me an email at spiritofcrazyhorse.com. Right sidebar says email or book a session with Thunder or whatever, but there is a thing in there that says email. And the email is, if you want to just write this down, Native American Taoist at gmail.com. Okay, or Roger Thunderhands at gmail.com. That's even simpler. Roger Thunderhands, all one word, at gmail.com. That's all you got to do. And, you'll make contact with me, and I will either, I'll say, yeah, you're good to go. This is good. You feel kindred. You have to feel kindred. You have to know. I would say it would be helpful if you knew a little bit about native tradition, but you don't necessarily have to. Nobody is excluded. See, that's why you have on the medicine wheel here. This is also a medicine wheel. You have the red road. But you have, you have the spirits of the four directions, which is red, yellow, white, and black. Mankind in general. there is no racial division, or you got to have this kind of blood or that kind of blood to be in this. What you have to have is the right heart, chante ishte, from the one eye of the heart, love and compassion and understanding and caring and loyalty, and a unified mind in prayer. And it's not just prayer, it's a meditation, because I have taught many, many meditation and prayer techniques on this channel. So right now you can choose to devote your time to watching bullshit, okay, like politics and whatever, game shows or whatever. You can devote your time to doing that while we are on the brink and the precipice of complete extinction of the planet. Or you can take shelter in a channel like this, and in a prayer circle like this, and start hooking up with other people and start making a difference not only in your life, but those other people's lives. It's like one hand reaching out for the other, hand to hand, love. True partnership, true caring, true family, extended family. This is the type of thing that I'm trying to establish here. Numbers aren't important, quality is important. That's why I review things. So I'm going to leave it there, and this video is mostly for the people in the prayer circle, but if you want to join, if you want to take part in something that is going to be healing for you and everybody else involved, then feel free. Feel free. Until then, I guess I'm gonna leave this video alone and say, Washte, it is good. Aho. Wopila. Thank you for watching.